Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone, ever. And around here at Invisible Condition, we know that life can be interesting sometimes tough. Sometimes life can be really tough. As a guy with 7 brain surgeries behind me, I can identify with that. I can totally relate. Life can be tough sometimes. We also know that there is always hope. And so that's the world that we choose to operate in, is the world of hope. So join us. If it's been a minute since you've been in that world, join us. It's a good place to be. So I want to talk about one or two things real quick before we bring our guest on for today. And number one is our nonprofit partner, and that is Hydro with Hope. You'll probably see a commercial for them during the show. And we established that nonprofit because I was born with a condition called hydrocephalus. Hydro for hope. Hydrocephalus is kind of a gnarly word to spell, so we just shortened it. So Hydro with Hope. We are here to help families and individuals who live with that crazy condition that I was born with and has caused me to have 7 brain surgeries. And so we know it can be crazy to live with that condition. And so we have created some resources, including a journal and some things for those families. And so the thing is, our mission has grown larger than our income. And so we've expanded our board. And there's a really easy place on the homepage of hydrowithhope.com to donate. And so we invite you to do that. If you know of anybody that you think would want to partner with us, please shoot me an email at this email address, invisiblecondition@e360tv.com. I'd love to talk to them and see how we can partner together to help Hydro with Hope. Also, at the same time, for advertisers that want to get the word out about what they're doing and the amazing things that they are doing for the population and the products and services that they want to get out there to everybody, I'd love to have that conversation too. So shoot me an email at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com, and let's see how we can get the word out about what you're doing to our amazing audience, our amazing growing audience, by the way. So there we go. That's enough of that. So let's talk about our guest today. Our guest is Wendy Lyon, and I promise all this is true. It's going to sound kind of crazy, but Wendy has been through 7 car accidents, 7 surgeries, and has had 7 potentially fatal medical conditions. And so I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. When she was 24, her husband was killed in a motorcycle accident. Despite going through some of this crazy, incredibly gut-wrenching challenges, including poverty, Wendy is now known as Wendy the Financial Lyon. And so Wendy has been making her clients' financial futures fabulous for over 2 decades. She's doing an awesome job at it. So as the host of the TV show, podcast, and radio show called Wealth and Wisdom, Wendy is inspiring her audience to heal, grow, and thrive so that they can enjoy true wealth in life, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. Because really all 4 are pretty important. So let's bring Wendy on here and see what's going on. All right. Welcome. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. Let's get started here. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. This is awesome. I love the whole premise. And I love your Hydro with Hope. What a great, I love it when our mess becomes our message, right?
Right. That's exactly right. And if that's the case, then you never work a day in your life because you're doing something that you love. Right. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So I have one question that I like to ask everybody that comes on the show. Everybody has an awesome answer. Don't worry. There's no wrong answer.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. I mean, come on, you guys, everybody in the audience, you heard the intro, right? There's a lot. There's a lot on those darkest days, on the craziest times, in the muck, in the mire, and all that stuff. During those hardest times, how did you still maintain hope?
Oh, I would have to say it's my faith and I'm a diehard optimist.
Nice.
So I just always believed that things were going to get better. Things were going to get better. Now, not to say that I didn't have some times where I was just like, God, could you please just take me to heaven? Like I've had enough of earth right now.
Right.
I have definitely prayed that prayer.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he was like, nope, the world's not done with you yet. You have more to do. So here I am. But yeah, I would say that hope is paramount. You know what I mean? If you don't have hope, what's the point?
Right.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of people, is that they lose hope. And that's when those thoughts of suicide and I'm not worthy and I'm no good and why am I here and there's no purpose and all of those negative thoughts start to come in. Right. But one thing that I did when I was at a very low point is I found something to be grateful for.
Nice.
And it was such a low point that I had to start with being thankful for my teeth so I could chew food. Like I was reaching for something to be grateful for. But, especially if you're in America, we always have something to be grateful for, because there's so many people in the world that don't have clean drinking water. We can turn on our faucet and out comes water. You know what I mean? We don't have to walk 3 miles uphill each way, each day to get water that's going to give us waterborne diseases and kill our children and all that kind of stuff. There's so much to be grateful for. And once you start to be grateful, I mean, I did that. I just said, thank you for my teeth that I can chew food. Thank you for my feet that get me everywhere I need to go. You know what I mean? And after about 5 or 10 minutes of that, it changed my whole mindset. It changed my whole demeanor. So if you get to that low point, just start feeling grateful for something. There is always something. If you have a bed to sleep in, you can be grateful. If you have a roof over your head, you can be grateful. It doesn't have to be a mansion. You know what I mean? It just has to be a roof. So there's really always something to be grateful for. And then when you're in that mindset, when you're everything is energy, right? So when you're in a gratitude mindset, now you're vibrating at like 500, where anxiety and stress is a 20, death being 0. Okay. So you can raise your vibration and your frequency, all of that, by simply practicing gratitude. So that's a very easy way to regain hope when you think all hope is lost.
Well, and one thing that good friend of mine told me, that was speaking in that vein there, with the list of things, like start listing off things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
She said, you know what, when you get through that, write them all down, get yourself so that you've got like 100 things written down that you're grateful for, so that when you get to that point that you feel like there is no hope and nothing to be grateful for, you can pull out that list and just start even just reading them. You don't have to come up with them every time. Just reading the list will have the same effect on your brain. Right. It'll flip that switch, no matter whether you're coming up with it on your own or you're reading it off a list. So,
well, and then you don't have to go through the effort. You just pull out the list. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
That's why so many people have gratitude journals and write that kind of stuff. You just open it up, start reading, say it out loud.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you can tell your brain what kind of day you're going to have. So if you say today's going to be a great day, I expect miracles today, I'm going to get a new client today, whatever it is, you can tell your brain how to behave. So rather than letting your brain or your subconscious control you, you can take active steps to control 100%. It and go, no, that's not how today's going to go. Today's going to be awesome. So sit back and shut up.
I've said it for years. Your attitude is really the only thing you have 100% control over. So make it a good one.
Yes.
That's everything else is happening to you. That is something you can control. So
exactly.
just to throw this out
Exactly.
here, if you, and by the way, I know we're only 10 minutes in here, but thank you for watching, everybody. And I can't wait for you to hear the rest of this story because it's really good. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, comment. If Wendy says something, you're like, oh, light bulb, or something like you have a question, or oh, I don't believe it, you're making that up, or whatever. Just drop a comment in Facebook or YouTube, and we'll check back on there, and we can address it during the episode, or during whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll get in touch with you. And then also, this is Wendy's website, Wendy's calendar, so that you can talk to her. So if there's anything that we talk about and you're like, oh, we got to dive into that, we got to continue this conversation, scan that QR code and it'll bring you to her website, her calendar, and you'll be able to grab a time with her. So what else are people going to find at that website, by the way? If they go to your website, what are they going to find?
Well, they're going to find, it's all about know, like, and trust, right? Before you want to meet with someone or, get to know them better. So on that page, it has an infomercial was done on me where gentleman, Gary Rogers, who directed Moses, his thing is, if I directed Moses, I can direct anybody. So Moses being Charlton Heston, he's not that old actually, but so he did an infomercial on me where he really goes through my story and what I've been through. And as you mentioned, my husband dying in a motorcycle accident and all that, and how I have taken, again, my mess becomes my message, right? And the testing of me becomes my testimony. So, and I'm really out to give people hope. A lot of people are really struggling right now. And my current husband and I both lost our incomes on the same day, not once, but twice. So there's more than just physical conditions that I've survived.
Oh, yeah.
But we've come back from that. And now we have a wonderful future waiting for us financially. We'll have more money in retirement than we even make right now. Nice. So if we can do that coming from nothing, imagine what you could do starting with something. So that's another thing that I want to give people hope, that don't give up, don't despair. If you feel you haven't saved enough or done enough, or you're just trying to get through the month, trust and believe. If you talk to me, your life will be better because I was in it.
I love that. And you know what? I just was watching a short on Facebook. There's this guy with this huge YouTube channel, and he talks to wildly successful people, and it's 2 minutes to get advice or whatever. And one of them was like, I started 20 million in the hole. When my dad passed his business on to me, there was $20 million in the hole. So I didn't even start at zero, and he's a billionaire now.
Thanks, Dad.
Now, but it's like, wow.
Love you.
I mean, so, right. So if you can, if somebody can do that, I mean, so he's like, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was like, I walked by a bum and said, like a homeless person on the street. He called him a bum, but he's like a homeless guy on the street. And he goes, that guy's better off than I am. He's not 20 million in the hole, He's like, at least he's starting from zero. And so everybody starts somewhere. It's where you go from there. So, yes. So you have kind of a crazy story. I mean, 7 surgeries, 7 car accidents, 7 potentially fatal things, hit by a truck,
yes.
severe brain trauma, concussions. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah. It's a wonder. It's a wonder I can add 2 + 2 at this point, right?
You're still here. What's going on? God must have a mission for you or something. So let's start at the beginning here. What are some of those early challenges that obviously there's some crazy stuff.
Well, one of the, it started when I was young. Now I can't beat your story where you had brain surgery at 2 weeks old. I mean, I don't know who can even compare with that.
That's not what it's about. Don't. It's like in conversations. It's like when Neil Armstrong or something comes in. It's like you can't beat that. It's like on the moon. What do you do with that, right? So it's not about competition, but right. But, I get it though. So go for it.
Well, when I was very young, I want to say I was only maybe 2 or 3, and I got a mosquito bite, and I kept scratching it and scratching it and scratching it, and I got a staph infection. And if a staph infection reaches your heart, you die. Yeah. So and how big are you at 2? You're teeny. Well, the staph infection got up to my shoulder. So it was only, inches away from my heart. So that was one. Then I got scarlet fever.
Oh.
when I was about 4. So that was kind of the beginning. And then, of course, the car accidents and all that fun stuff started later.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah.
I've had cancer twice. I beat that twice. The car accident, I think the most traumatic thing was the big car accident I had. It was my big first, I don't do anything halfway. So if I'm going to have a car accident, I'm going to have a car accident.
Go big or go home. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I got hit driver's side front. I was driving a Honda Civic wagon at the time, and the guy that hit me had a big giant Plymouth. So he hit the front engine compartment. So the engine and the steering wheel all went into me.
Oh.
And they couldn't get me out of the car. And while I was sitting in the car, I was in shock, and I had blood dripping down my arm, and I'm just kind of like, oh, there's blood. You know what I mean? But I'm breathing very shallowly. Nothing hurts. Everything's just kind of like, and the cop said, do you have a statement to make? And I said, yes, get me out of this car. That was the only statement they took from me. I was just like,
what do you mean statement? Get me out of here and I'll talk to you all you want. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Could you get me out and like help me first, and then maybe I'll have something to say?
Yeah.
But so our town was fighting with the next town over that had the jaws of life. And so my town did not have the jaws of life.
Oh, come on.
And they couldn't get me out of the car. So at one point, they were trying to get me out for so long that at one point they were going to try to blow torch a hole in the ceiling, the roof of the car, to try to pull me out that way. And they were so brilliant that in order to protect me from the blowtorch, they put a blanket over my head. Like, I probably could have sued the whole fire. I didn't do any of that, but like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Not smart. That's not great.
So now bear in mind, while I'm in the car, I'm bleeding internally. My liver was spliced. My pancreas was bruised. My spleen had to be removed. I have broken ribs. My surgeon said it looked like Freddy Krueger went through my insides. But while I'm in the car, all scrunched up, I'm in shock, right? I'm okay.
Yeah.
They finally opened the passenger door. And they pull me out. Now, remember, everything's spliced. So you're pulling me out of this car. And now everything that's cut is like I'm no longer in shock. They put me in the ambulance, and I'm just like writhing in pain, the worst pain I've ever felt. And I promise you and now it's snowing. There's a snowstorm going on. So I don't know how long it took to get to the hospital. It was a half-hour ride without snow. So now I've been bleeding internally. My stomach is spliced. So all of the stomach acids are going in my system. By the time we got to the hospital, I proposed to the anesthesiologist. I was just like, you can get me out of this pain. I will marry you right now. Like, I will marry you right now. And no one told me how close to death I had become. Apparently, a lot of people don't even survive a splenectomy.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And because I had broken ribs, I'm breathing very shallowly. So they had to put me on a breathing tube and a breathing machine to inflate my lungs. And oh my gosh, like all this stuff, tubes coming out of my stomach. And so my kids, now remember, their dad had just died. So I don't want them to be concerned. Oh, now mom's going to die. Like, what's going to go on? Right.
Yeah.
So they come to visit me in the hospital, and I've got, blankets and everything covering me up and all that stuff. And all I could do was suck on ice cubes because I had no digestive fluid. So that was a fun diet for a week. And they come to the hospital, and they're like playing in the bathroom sink and flooding the sink. And they're like getting into all this ornery trouble, which they were really good kids. So they're normally not like that. Finally, I'm just like, I am sick over here. Like, we're in a hospital. Hello.
I'm literally almost in two pieces here. What are you people doing?
Could you chill out and be nice to mom right now? You know what I mean? So then I get home, and the first thing they do is give me the 24-hour flu, which, if you've had all your abdominal muscles cut open, broken ribs, all that stuff, you don't want to even breathe too deeply, let alone cough, laugh, or anything else. So you can imagine how fun throwing up was. That was like,
man, you know
fabulous.
What? You can't even blink. I say this kind of sarcastically, but you almost can't even blink or like your hair. Your hair moves and it uses your ab muscles. Like, you can't even blink without using your ab muscles and your ab muscles.
Sit up, sit back, and roll over in bed. I mean, anything.
Nope. Yeah.
And then if that wasn't fun enough, then they get the chicken pox and from their daycare. And my surgeon says, have you had the chicken pox? I was like, yeah, why? What's the big deal? It's like, you have no immune system. You could die. And so it took me 2 or 3 years before my immune system finally was kind of back up.
Yeah.
So if you had a cold, I would get the flu. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would just get super duper sick
Yeah.
off anything that I was exposed to. So that was fun. And we talked about that when I had you on my show about maybe they shouldn't be in the will. It's all coming back to me now.
That's right.
What you put me through when you
seriously, you crazy children. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, seriously, like you say your story doesn't compare to mine, but that is insane. Like brain surgery is one thing, but I'm asleep for the whole thing. This was different. So, well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to, I'm not trying to cut and run here. I don't want to leave you all in like crazy suspense or anything. Like, what happened? I mean, she's here, so she survived, right? But we're going to talk more about this on the other end of the break. Do not go anywhere. Obviously, there's more to the story. So, it's coming. It's coming. It'll come in the next segment. So please stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a couple minutes.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
The Club eFit Home Portable Gym System is a groundbreaking new system that can help everyone at any fitness level. You can be the happy, fit person you always wanted to be, and Club eFit can make that happen by helping you get the body you deserve in the time you can spare. With workouts ranging from cardio, core, to total body toning, it's easy to get started. Start taking care of you today. To make the change, go to clubefit.com now.
Hey friends, this is Ben Hummel. I'm the host of the Genius Way Show, where you'll learn to access your inner gifts, talents, and callings and how to express them out in the world. Join me here each Sunday at noon Pacific time on the Achieve TV network, right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook and you've heard something that's crazy or that you want to comment on, which if you were listening, that whole first segment was a little crazy. So throw us a note on YouTube or Facebook and we can get in touch with you, or go to this QR code, meet with Wendy, and she can tell you more of the story because it's a good one. So, woo. And if you missed that first segment, go back and watch it because it's really good. So now a lot of what you were experiencing there in the ambulance and in the hospital when your kids were flooding the sink and being crazy and being written out of the will and all that. A lot of that is
still in it. Trust and believe. Don't worry about it. But talking about it, I will say that maybe I need to have a little chat and go, do you remember?
If you don't remember, that's
me when you were little.
They've probably blocked it out by now, honestly.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to think about it.
Well, they didn't suffer through anything.
Well, that's true. You know what? In the midst of all those crazy, like 6 surgeries in the last 12 years, 4 brain surgeries, emergency this, crazy, whatever. And yeah, our kids are troopers, man. They remember all that because they watched me get carted off of the ambulance and they watched me sit in the hospital for 3 weeks and have 2 brain surgeries within 24 hours and all that stuff. So it's a blessing when they don't remember. It's great.
Yeah. Yes.
So speaking of that, if for those of you that have been watching for a while, but way back in season 1, my wife and my oldest daughter did a show with me to talk about that, because my oldest daughter, who's 21 now, was like 9, I think, or 10 at the time. And so she talks, so she was the oldest. The younger two were really young, so they don't remember anything, but she did. And so her and my wife got to tell their side of the story on that show. So if you or anybody you know or love have been through that and you wonder what the kids' perspective is, that's a good episode. Check it out. It was interesting. So to hear that. So, and I'm sure if your kids remembered any of it, they'd have stories to tell too. So I'm sure.
We're going to have a family reunion here the first week of August. So I will have to, maybe I'll bring that up.
I mean, hey, you never know till you ask, right? I mean, maybe they haven't talked about it because you haven't asked them about it. So,
right.
You never know.
Yes.
Well, the one thing that's invisible in all that, I mean, when you're cut to ribbons and you're almost, cut in half and all the things and, in the ambulance and all the things, that's pretty visible. But there's a lot of invisible things going on there too. I mean, traumatic brain injury was probably part of it. I mean, I think you told me that you had like dizziness for like forever, that you lived with for a long time after that. Like, talk about some of that, because those are the ones that nobody knows what's going on.
Well, that all came from, I had traumatic brain injury from that and from one of my other car accidents. And I said, it's a wonder I can add 2 + 2 right now. But when I got hit by the truck, I went down on my head, the back of my head, my left elbow, and my tailbone.
Ouch.
And that was very traumatic. It was kind of funny because it happened, it wasn't far, luckily, from the hospital. So we go into the ER and they were like, "Oh, Miss Lyon." Of course, they know me by name.
Right, by now.
I was like, "I just got hit by a truck."
You're like, you have all the luck, don't you?
I know. So it was so bizarre because within an hour, I had an MRI, X-rays, EKG, all the tests, all the X-rays, all of that stuff. And I was in a bed within an hour. Like, that never happens.
That's record time, man.
Because I said, I feel like, the Queen of England or something. Like, why am I getting this treatment and all this attention? And they said, well, actually, we were waiting for a heart attack patient to be life flighted in, but you got here first. So I was like, oh, lucky me.
Well,
good timing on my part.
I mean, you know what? I wonder. I mean, I've had 15 surgeries so far, 7 brain surgeries, all these emergencies, all this craziness, all these MRIs, and like you and I, we've ridden all the rides. We've had all the fun, right? Every MRI, CT, X-ray, ultrasound, all the things.
Yes.
It's all, I feel like they should have punch cards. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should pay for 5, get 1 free or something, right. You've already been through enough, let's give me this one on the house, but
yeah, wouldn't that be great? 5 surgeries, get your 6th one free.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, nobody's striving for it. It's not like we're like, okay, how can we prompt this surgery, Wouldn't it be nice to be that? Like, I think we should talk to them about that.
Yes.
Seriously. So with that invisible stuff, with the traumatic brain injury, those are the hard ones, right? When you're walking around and you're all in casts and bandages and bent over and can't stand up straight because of all the scarring and everything, like that people see that, they're like, oh, poor person, look at that person.
Yeah.
But with traumatic brain injury, nobody knows what's going on. So you have like zero compassion until somebody tells you what's going on. So.
Right. And my poor brain, I didn't give it a break. This happened on December 19th. So I had a client that I would do all of their finances and accounting and all that stuff for. So I told them I can't come in Monday. I've just been hit by a truck. This was on Saturday. And they're like, oh, okay.
Right. It's not funny, but it's,
right. And that week was Christmas. So I had that week to just kind of be. But then the following week, I showed up.
It's tax time, baby. Yeah.
They kept me in the hospital to see if I had a brain bleed or not. They did a test like a few hours in, and then they waited another few hours just to be sure.
Mhm.
So at that point, I didn't have a brain bleed, but I ended up with fluid on the brain because
Yep.
every time I would roll over in bed, the room would spin. And I mean, I'm lying down. So it's not like
Yeah.
I'm twirling around on the floor or something. Just rolling over in bed, the room would
Mm.
spin. And I don't mean woo, woo. I mean like 65 miles an hour. Whoom, 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 whoom. And I would just be like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I felt so blonde because every morning I'd wake up and I sleep on my left side, because when I had broken ribs from the original car accident, the only way I could sleep was on my left side with a pillow propped up against me.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've slept like that for, over 30 years.
Sure.
And so I would wake up, get up on my left elbow, ow, 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 and then the room would spin.
Yeah.
Like every morning I'd be like, oh, I forgot. But there was a time when I had that concussion that I couldn't even remember my address. I was just like,
Right.
what is going on with my brain?
Yeah.
And I didn't know. My niece had a concussion and her doctor told her, don't watch TV, don't talk on your cell phone, wear sunglasses, do all this
That's
stuff.
right.
I didn't do any of that. And here I'm doing accounting and, I'm dealing with millions of dollars and doing all the financials and reporting them out to the board and, doing
Yeah.
all this stuff. So I didn't give my brain a rest. I was just kind of like, keep up. Like I've got stuff to do.
That's right.
And
You'll
then
get the nap now.
yeah. And then to really put it to the test, the interest rates were going down. And so I was like, well, let's refinance our mortgage. Well, I didn't know that if you went onto a certain website that 20 mortgage companies were going to call you. And I did this at like 10:30 on a Sunday night. So I'm getting inundated with calls and texts and blah, blah, blah. And because I have all this identity theft protection, every time someone would run our credit to apply for the loan, I would get texts from LifeLock and Experian and, all these other things. So my poor brain, it was just about to ooze out my ears. I finally told my client, I was like, I can't come in today. I was literally just crying, like, I can't take it anymore.
Right.
But so this goes on for 4.5 months. And because I show up and because I can work, because as long as I stood still or sat still, I was okay.
Totally.
I just couldn't turn my head or look up or down or, whatever. So people didn't realize this woman is like majorly injured. Like her brain is wounded, So this goes on for 4.5 months. And I was watching the 700 Club. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And Pat Robertson, on that show, they pray every day for people in the audience. So I'm watching it one day and Pat Robertson says, there's someone out there and you have fluid on your brain. And I don't know if it's cephalitis or, whatever it is, or meningitis or whatever it might be, but God's healing that for you right now. And I was like, that's me. So I run to my bedroom and I roll back and forth on the bed. And I'm like, no more dizziness. Yay. No more fluid on the brain. This is awesome. So, but I still remember, I told you there was a day I woke up and I couldn't remember my address. So my brain's still not, the fluid's gone, the dizziness is gone, but I'm still can't do, math and division. I used to be able to do calculations like lickety split in my head.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, Pat Robertson is praying again. And he said, there's someone out there and you've had a traumatic brain injury and God's healing your brain right now. I'm like, that's me. So if it wasn't for that, I would still probably be in that condition because unlike you, I'd probably be too scared to have brain surgery to remove it. I'd probably be like, I'm okay. Just a flesh wound, sir. I'll just stay still.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't really have a choice. They didn't really give me a choice.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice.
It was like you have brain surgery or you cease to exist in this planet.
Right.
Take your pick. It's a pretty easy decision. But
yes.
But I get it though. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my
I might
God.
have been like, no, I can live with this. I'll just stay still.
Well, it's funny that because one thing you said during that story is it reminds me of, with those. So I had to have 2 back-to-back brain surgeries in 2014, and because of an bacterial infection they found in the fluid or surrounding wasn't surrounding the brain. It was stuck in my abdomen because it wouldn't reabsorb. And so for 3 weeks I had that in the hospital, and they did the 2 brain surgeries and back to back, and they let me out, and I started having migraines, and they became constant. But I would still work because, as you know, pain tolerance, you roll with it. man. You like your pain tolerance gets to a point that your 1 to 10 scale is not the same as everybody else's, you know? And so your
Right.
2
Right.
might be somebody else's 9, you know what I mean? And so I was still
Yes.
working. I was still doing it too. I would be, my head would feel like it was in a vice grip, but I'm still doing my work, still working and still doing stuff, you know, and then I
Yeah.
would just go home and pass out,
Yeah.
you know, from the pain. But you're still
Right.
doing stuff, you know, and
Yeah.
people aren't, they don't know what's going on inside of you. You know, you appear relatively normal.
Yes.
And like you're upright and out of the house, so they figure you're feeling fine. But it's that invisible part. So
Yes. Yes. Well, I
crazy.
will say my husband is like the best nurse like ever. And if it
Yeah.
wasn't for him, because I used to do a lot of childcare and things like that on the side because I love kids. So
Nice.
I had clients and, I'd start watching their kids when they were little and that, now they're 16, 18 years old, whatever. So one night I'm over watching, she's a teenager and this is way back before cell phones and all that kind of stuff. So she's on the phone all night, like being a typical teenager talking to her friends.
Yep.
So we weren't married yet, but my soon to be husband calls me up and he's like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "I just have a really bad pain in my stomach. I don't know what it is." And I was walking up the stairs and the young girl's name was Charlie. She goes, "You look like you have appendicitis." And I was like, "I don't have appendicitis." And I used to have like abdominal issues anyway. Imagine, they've only been cut open and all that kind of stuff. So I was just like, it's probably.
How old is this person that said
She
that?
was 15, I want to say at the time.
Okay, so I was thinking, how do you even know what that word means? But okay, 15.
No, she was about 15.
Okay.
So my husband comes over and he takes one look at my eyes and he just sees this pain like radiating from my eyes. And he was like, "Charlie, is there a friend's house that you can go stay at? Because I need to take her to the ER."
Yep.
And so I go to the ER. Oh, and this was fun. This was fun. So I go to the ER and they don't know whether I have appendicitis or an ovarian cyst.
Oh,
so at one point I'm lying in the bed and the nurse comes in and she presses on my abdomen and I almost like hit the ceiling. I was just like,
"Oh,
what did you just do?" And she
what
goes,
are you trying to
"Did
do
it
to
hurt
me?"
more when I pressed in or when I let go?" And I was like, "I don't know, but please
It
don't."
all hurts. Don't touch me.
I was just like, what on earth? Let me just take some scissors to your ear and you tell me if it hurt more when I jabbed him in or when I pulled him out. I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
So I'd have to drink all the chalk and do all this stuff. And I'm doing, all these tests and stuff. And they still didn't know what was wrong with me. So we're there from, I'll make it up, 9 o'clock at night till like 3 a.m.
Ugh.
And the hospital bill was $17,000, by the way. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, thank you for insurance. So they send me home. They're like, "Just go to your regular doctor tomorrow and see." So I go to my doctor the next day and he goes, "Did they give you anything for the pain?" Well, they had given me morphine, but I was in so much pain that the morphine wasn't even doing anything.
there.
Like, when you have a high pain threshold, you need a lot of pain medication.
Oh, they sent me home with all kinds of turbo meds. I had like the virtual medicine cabinet at my house, but no matter what I took, nothing made a difference. So I got rid of all of them because none of them worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Well, I will give you a secret. So my doctor said, "Let me give you a prescription." And he gave me Zydone. It's Xydone. And I took that. And like an hour later, I was in no pain whatsoever.
Nice.
So for anybody out there in amazing, incredible pain, that stuff worked. And you're not drugged up. You're not, drowsy or dizzy or, nauseous or any of that stuff. It just takes the pain away.
Well,
so finally that afternoon they discovered, "Oh yeah, you do have appendicitis." And I had to go in to have my appendix removed.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I was back at work the next Monday. My sweetheart would wake me up, come over and wake me up at 5 a.m. to give me a pain pill so I could wake up 2 hours later and get ready and go to work. So I had surgery on a Thursday and then back at work on Monday. So my poor body, it's a wonder it hasn't rebelled and said, "Not getting out of bed. Thank you very much." You know what I mean?
You know what? The last brain surgery I had was in October of 21, and it was the same kind of thing. I was in the hospital for a week straight, rode all the rides, did all the tests. They couldn't figure out what it was. They said, you just go home. Here's some pain meds. Go home and rest up and we'll figure it out later. So a few weeks later, I'm like writhing on the couch and taking this pain meds that weren't working great. And they finally said, you know what we need to do? We need to do exploratory neurosurgery. So those are words you don't ever want to hear out of a doctor's mouth.
No.
And so, but I'm glad we did, because we ended up finding the problem was inside the brain. There's a tiny little tube attached to this shunt that goes inside the brain to take that fluid out. And that tiny little tube was not visible on any of those scans. And that was the problem. It was 100% clogged. So they replaced it. Everything was cool. That was the quickest turnaround I've ever had for surgery. I went in on like a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and I was driving away or my wife was driving me away, I should say, like the following day at 3 p.m. after brain surgery. So it was quick, man. They couldn't wait to kick me out of there. And so
yeah,
it's crazy.
They used to pamper you in the hospital. Now, because my sister would say, "Oh, enjoy the hotel. Where else can you have someone hand you a glass of water and a bendy straw? Put the straw in my mouth, please.
Well,
thank you very much." For what you pay for it, they better make the straw out of gold, for crying out loud.
Well, I have something I'd like to say about that too, but let's do it on the other side of this break here, because it's I'm going to write this down because I want to make sure I remember, because you were talking about the amount of the bill getting out of the ER, man. I got a doozy for you when we come back, but yes, we'll do that. We'll take a break.
With brain surgery,
it's insane. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah. So, spoiler alert, it's a lot of money. Come back after the break and find out, how much. But it's nuts. But yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.
And
cliffhanger.
Stick around.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being here. Okay, if this isn't the craziest story you've heard this week, I want to know who you hang out with. That's all I'm saying. Because this is nuts. I don't usually get stories like this on the show, but it's awesome. So I get a lot of good stories, but this is I relate to you on so many things. It's just crazy. You and I have a very similar story in some ways. We were talking about the hospital bill from being in the ER that you were talking about. And I don't have a clue what some of the bills were from just being in the ER for a few days. But I tell you what, in 2013, I was in the hospital for a week and had emergency abdominal surgery because of the scar tissue, which I'm basically held together with from all those other surgeries, had pinched off my intestine. And so they had to free that up and do surgery and whatever. So that was a week in the hospital. And then 6 months later, I had 2 brain surgeries back to back and 3 weeks in the hospital. Between those 2 surgeries, I rounded out about $500,000 worth of bills. And just the hospital stay, just the room for those 20 days for that brain surgeries was $10,000 a day. It was $200,000 just for the room. I found that out later after I looked at the bill. And by the way, everybody, look at your medical bills, because sometimes they charge you for stuff they're not supposed to. Do your research, by the way. I've saved myself some money that way. But I tell you what, there's a hotel in Colorado Springs called the Broadmoor. Everybody, that seems like it's pretty well known, the Broadmoor, and it is an expensive, exclusive hotel. And one of the suites in there is $10,000 a night. I could have stayed there and probably eaten much better and been in a much more comfortable bed for those 3 weeks. But anyway.
And it probably comes with a butler.
Right? They probably better for that price. Seriously. So anyway, I'm sure anybody that can relate to that, throw it in the comments, man. I want to hear, what's the most you've ever been charged at the hospital? Good Lord. It's crazy. So, I know we only have 7 or 8 minutes left, but so you're obviously on a mission now. I mean, you don't live through all that and go, let's just get a job and live my life out. There's a mission now, and you are gung ho. So tell us what you're doing and how people can help.
Well, I'm on a mission to get people out of debt and get them to financial freedom. I really specialize in helping clients plan their financial futures. But so many people are in credit card debt, household debt, all that kind of thing. I found this amazing tool that gets you out of debt in record time without you changing your budget or lifestyle. That's important. So you don't have to live on, rice and beans for the next 20 years to get out of debt. So I've saved people, they pay off their mortgage rather than paying on their home for another 25 years. They're paid off in 4.5. Credit cards, mortgage, everything. And that particular couple was on Social Security.
Come on.
So yeah.
Wow.
It's so rewarding, Jeff, because I do a personalized savings report. So we just put in your expenses and your income, and voila, it'll spit out this report that's just 2-sided, so it's very simple, easy to understand. It'll tell you the exact month and year you'll be out of debt. And the flip side is, of course, now that you're out of debt, how much wealth can you build now?
Right.
So you can find that out. I mean, imagine the stress that is lifted off your shoulders when you see a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not an oncoming train.
Right.
Because that was kind of one of my, I lived like that when I was going through a lot of this stuff. What's the next shoe that's going to drop, that kind of
Seriously.
thing. So to be able to give people hope, as we know, which is so incredibly valuable and precious in our lives, to be able to give people hope and get them financially free. It's the second reason couples fight is over money. So, if I can take the stress of money out of your life, and because I'm sure you'll agree with this, I believe, disease simply means to be not at ease in your body.
Yeah.
And stress does what? Makes you not at ease in your body. So I really think stress is the cause of nearly every disease we face.
100%.
So if I can get rid of that stress, get you smiling, you're going to show up better in the world. You're going to show up better at your job. You're going to be, you and your spouse are going to have a better relationship. You're going to be more patient with your children. It's just an all around good thing that goes on in your life. So I'm on a mission to do that for as many people as I possibly can.
Right. I heard I'm trying to remember who it was. They said, it's not that I need money. It's that I breathe easier when I have it.
Yes.
It's like it's not, you're not,
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, money is just a tool. So, I'm also known as the millionaire maker, but my show, Wealth and Wisdom, as you know, is all about getting rid of the mindsets and the locks and the blocks and all that stuff. Because I've handed some clients amazing future. Let's turn this 260,000 into 7.2 million, instead of going, where do I sign? She's like, well, let me think about it. And it's like, okay, what's really going on with you? Do you think you don't deserve this? You're not worthy. You think your family's going to come after you. Hey, loan me some money. You know what I mean? So sometimes we have to work through that before they'll accept the gift that I'm laying before them. So
there's always a story behind the story. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying I take a very holistic look at what's going on in your life so that you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't. It's just like what's happening right now. It's like, well, do you know how much Social Security you're going to have? Do you know that the average American couple in retirement is going to pay out $250,000 out of pocket in medical expenses? Have you planned for inflation? You know what I mean? Are all your assets taxable? Do you have any tax-free income that you can draw? You know what I mean? So it's like, let's put all this together and make it work together so you're in the best possible financial position you can be. And I'm not a one and done. So I'm going to stay with you and make sure every year, we're going to check in. How's it going? Did you have a kid? Did you get married? What's going on with you?
Yeah.
Do you need to fund college now? Are your kids grown? Oh, your kid's getting married. Okay. Well, how are we going to fund that? So it's really, and I and my clients become really, really good friends. I mean, what's not to like, right? So
come on. Really? Come on, everybody. No, it's true. And it's almost like peeling back the onion. What's next? What's next? What's next? Next phase of life. Next, know. So yeah, it's good. I'm glad you're long-term like that because it's not one and done. It totally is.
Yes.
So
because I've worked with people and it's like, I don't even know what I bought. Who are you? Where are you? You know what I mean? And I have a lot of clients that are like that. They're like, I never heard from this guy ever again after I did X, Y, and Z. So I'm not like that. And, I really try to keep in touch with my clients and because we become friends, it's like, how are you? What's going on with you? How can I help you? Do you need, I have a client yesterday that was freaked out because somebody worked on her website and put a Google Pay instead of her swipe, I forget what they call it, her square. So she's like, I don't know who's registering. I don't know where the money's going. I don't know how to follow up with it. You know what I mean? She's freaking out. Well, I have a really wonderful website guy. So I was like, hey, can you help her with this and fix it? So it's not just about what can I do for you financially, but what can I do for you as a human being, as a friend?
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I told you before we started, this was going to be the fastest hour of your life.
Yes.
It's over already. We're done. We can't. So
we could go on for a day.
We could totally, if we just have an open-ended thing, we could just go for a few more hours, but we can't. So, but Wendy, thank you for being here and for your story and for what you're doing for people and for everything. This is not the last time we've seen each other. I know it. So we're definitely gonna work together in the future on some stuff. I already have some things in mind. So
yes, and I have some ideas for Hydro with Hope too to help with your fundraising.
Beautiful. We will definitely chat. Stick around after the broadcast here, and we'll chat and we'll go from there. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. This has been it's a blast to talk about all these horrible things we've been through.
Woo! Yeah.
Who knew?
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Holy smokes. I'm telling you, no, it doesn't get better than that, man. That's fun stuff. She's awesome. You got to reach out to her just to have another conversation. She's fun. And, why not, right? So, all right. If you are watching and you've been watching for a long time, like we've been on the air at least a couple years now, thank you for being here. If this is brand new to you and this is your first episode, welcome. Thank you for being here. And depending on where you're watching, like you could be watching any of these places here, just join us, like, subscribe, share, follow, all the things, and I'll tell you what, join us for my next episode, which will be Tuesday, August 12th. And it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you then. Till then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.